The wind howled across the frozen wasteland that was once the green valley of Caloris. Snow fell in thick sheets, covering everything in white death. The temperature had dropped again during the night. Hannah pressed her scaled hands against the ice-covered window and watched her breath fog the glass. Her world was dying. 3 months ago, their sun had started to dim. The scientists called it solar decay. The elders called it the end times. Hannah called it a nightmare that would not end. Each day brought colder air and darker skies. The plants had died first, then the small animals. Now her people were following them into the cold sleep of death. Hannah turned away from the window and looked at her 3 children lying on the sleeping platform. Nari was the oldest at 7 cycles. Her dark green scales had turned pale blue from the cold. Minho was 5 cycles old. His small body shivered even in his deep sleep. Little Seok was barely 3 cycles. His breathing came in short, weak puffs. All 3 of her babies had fallen into cold stasis 2 days ago. This was how their kind died when the temperature dropped too low. Their bodies would slow down more and more until they simply stopped. The medical center said there was nothing they could do. Too many patients. Not enough power for the heating units. Hannah knelt beside the platform and touched Nari's cold face. Her daughter's skin felt like stone. The child's eyes were closed, but Hannah knew she could still hear, still feel, still suffer in the growing cold that was stealing her life away. "I will not let you die," Hannah whispered to her children. "I will find a way." Heavy footsteps echoed in the hallway outside their dwelling. Hannah's mate Taiho entered the room. His usually bright yellow scales had dulled to a sickly brown color. Dark circles surrounded his eyes. He had been working at the power station for 3 days straight, trying to keep the heating systems running. "Any change?" Taiho asked as he approached the sleeping platform. Hannah shook her head. "They are colder than yesterday, the medics say. We have maybe 2 more days before—" She could not finish the words. Taiho sat down heavily on the floor beside her. "The power station is failing. We lost another generator this morning. Elder Borom says we need to prepare for the worst." "The worst has already happened," Hannah said. "Our children are dying, and we are doing nothing to save them. What can we do? The medical equipment needs heat to work. We barely have enough power to keep the main buildings from freezing. The evacuation ships are full. There's no room for more passengers." Hannah looked at her mate. She had known him since they were children themselves. He was a good father and a hard worker, but he had given up hope. She could see it in his eyes. "The humans," she said quietly. Taiho's head snapped up. "What about the humans?" "Their research station has power, heat, medical equipment. Dr. Kim has been offering to help our people." "You cannot be serious." Taiho stood up quickly. "Humans are not like us. They do not understand our biology. Their medicine could kill our children faster than the cold. Our children are already dying. That is not the point. We are Valkyrie. We have survived for thousands of cycles without help from other species. We will find our own way through this." Hannah looked at little Seok. His breathing had become even weaker since the morning. "Our pride will not warm their bodies. Our traditions will not bring them back to life. The elders have forbidden contact with the human station. You know this. The elders are not watching their children freeze to death." Taiho knelt down beside Hannah again. He took her hands in his. "I understand your pain. I feel it too. But the humans ... are strange creatures. They think differently than we do. They might try to change our children. Make them into something that is not Valkyrie. Something alive is better than something dead." "Is it? Would you rather have human children than dead Valkyrie children?" The question hung in the cold air between them. Hannah pulled her hands away from her mate. She had thought about this question many times in the past 2 days. Each time the answer became clearer. "I would rather have my children breathing than perfect and dead." Taiho was quiet for a long moment. Finally he spoke. "The council meets tonight. They are discussing the human offer again. Maybe they will change their minds. They have discussed it 5 times already. Each time they say no. Each time more of our people die. Then what do you want me to do? Hannah looked at her 3 children. Nari's scales had turned another shade paler. Soon they would be white as bone. When that happened, there would be no bringing her back. I want you to help me carry them to the human station. Hannah, no. The council has decided. The elders have spoken. We cannot go against them. Watch me. Hannah stood up and walked to the storage area. She pulled out thick blankets and warm clothing. If she was going to take her children outside in this cold, she needed to protect them as much as possible. You will be cast out, Taiho said, both of us. We will never be allowed back into Velkari society. What society? Hannah gestured toward the window. Look outside. See how many of our people are left. See how many are dying every day. There will be no society to return to if we do nothing. Taiho walked to the window. In the distance, they could see the lights of the human research station. It sat on a hill about 2 kilometers away. The building glowed warm and bright against the dark sky. Smoke rose from its heating vents. It looked alive in a world that was dying. The humans have been here for 6 months, Hannah continued. They have offered help many times. Dr. Kim speaks our language. He has studied our people. He knows our biology better than our own medics, because he has been experimenting on us. Because he has been trying to help us. Hannah finished packing the blankets. She turned to face her mate. I am taking our children to the human station tonight. You can come with me, or you can stay here and explain to the elders why you let your family die for the sake of pride. Taiho looked at his children one more time. Little Siak's breathing was so shallow now that Hannah had to watch carefully to see his chest move. Time was running out. The snow is too thick, Taiho said finally. We will never make it to the station carrying 3 children. Then we will try. The humans might refuse to help. They might turn us away. Then we will die knowing we tried everything. Taiho closed his eyes. When he opened them again, Hannah saw something new there. Not hope, exactly, but not defeat either. I will get the transport sled, he said. The transport sled cut through the deep snow like a knife through ice. Taiho pushed from behind while Hannah pulled from the front. Between them, their 3 children lay wrapped in every warm blanket they owned. The wind bit at their exposed scales. An ice formed on their breathing holes. The human research station grew larger as they climbed the hill. Bright lights shone from every window. Hannah could see movement inside the buildings. The humans were awake and active even in the deepest part of the night. She wondered if they ever slept. Stop, Taiho called out. I need to rest. They had been walking for an hour. The station was only half a kilometer away now, but the snow was getting deeper. Taiho's breathing came in sharp gasps. Frost covered his face. Hannah checked on her children. Nari's scales had turned completely white. Minho was so still that Hannah had to put her ear to his chest to hear his heartbeat. Siok was barely breathing at all. We have to move faster, she said. I am trying. The sled is heavy and the snow is deep. A bright light suddenly appeared ahead of them. Someone was coming down the hill from the human station. Hannah could see a figure moving through the snow with some kind of powered vehicle. Hide, Taiho whispered. If they see us, they might turn us away before we reach the station. No. Hannah stood up and waved her arms. Help us please. The vehicle stopped. A human figure climbed out and walked toward them. He was tall and thin, wearing a thick white coat. His face was covered by protective goggles, but Hannah could see his breath in the cold air. Are you okay? The human called out in their language. His accent was strange, but the words were clear. Do you need assistance? Hannah recognized his voice. This was Dr. Junho Kim, the human scientist who had been trying to build relations with her people. He had spoken at several council meetings, always offering help and friendship. Dr. Kim, Hannah said. My children are dying. Please help them. The human doctor hurried over to the sled. He knelt down beside the wrapped figures and carefully pulled back one of the blankets. His eyes widened when he saw Nari's white scales and closed eyes. Cold stasis, he said quietly. How long have they been like this? 2 days for the older ones. 3 days for the youngest. Dr. Kim checked each child quickly. His hands moved, with practiced skill, feeling for pulse points and checking breathing. His face grew more serious with each examination. We need to get them inside immediately, he said. My vehicle can carry all of you. Leave the sled here. Taiho stepped forward. Wait, we have not been invited to your station. The council has. Forbidden contact between our peoples. If we go with you, we cannot return to our community. Dr. Kim looked at Taiho, then at the 3 dying children. Your community will cast you out for trying to save your children? They believe humans cannot be trusted. They think you will harm our young ones or change them in some way. And what do you believe? Hannah answered before Taiho could speak. I believe my children will die if we do nothing. I believe you are our only hope. Dr. Kim nodded. Then we should not waste any more time talking. The human vehicle was warm inside and moved quickly through the snow. Hannah held little Seok in her arms while Taiho cradled Minho. Dr. Kim carried Nari in the front seat beside him. The doctor spoke into a communication device as he drove. Dr. Park, this is Kim. I'm bringing 3 Valkyrie children to the medical center. Severe cold stasis. Prepare emergency warming procedures. Contact Dr. Lee and tell him to get the bioanalysis equipment. Ready? A voice answered from the device. Understood. Are the parents with you? Yes. They will need quarters and food. And Minji, be gentle with them. This is not easy for Valkyrie parents. Of course. The station was much larger than it looked from the outside. The vehicle entered through a large door that closed automatically behind them. Warm air flowed over them immediately. Hannah felt her stiff muscles begin to relax for the first time in days. Several humans were waiting for them in the garage area. They moved quickly to help carry the children. Hannah noticed that they all spoke quietly and moved carefully, as if they understood how frightening this must be for Valkyrie parents. This way, please, said a woman with short black hair. I am Dr. Minji Park. I specialize in non-human biology. They followed her through clean, bright hallways to a medical center. That was unlike anything Hannah had ever seen. Machines hummed quietly along the walls. Lights glowed softly from the ceiling. Everything was warm and clean and full of life. Place them here, Dr. Park said, pointing to 3 beds that were already prepared. We have been studying Valkyrie physiology for months. We know how to treat cold stasis, but we need to work quickly. Hannah gently laid Seok on one of the beds. The mattress was soft and warm. Immediately, machines began to hum around her son. Lights blinked on panels above his head. What are those machines doing? Taiho asked nervously, checking his vital signs. Dr. Park explained. Heart rate, breathing, body temperature, brain activity. We need to know how deep the stasis has become before we can begin treatment. Another human entered the room. He was older than the others, with gray hair and kind eyes. I am Dr. Sunho Kong, he said. I will be monitoring the warming process. Your children are in good hands. Dr. Kim was studying the readings from all 3 beds. His face was serious. The youngest one is in deep stasis. The others are not as far gone, but we need to act fast. What will you do to them? Hannah asked. We will warm them slowly and carefully. Too fast, and we could damage their organs. Too slow, and they may slip deeper into stasis. We have equipment designed specifically for Valkyrie biology. You have treated our people before? Dr. Park shook her head. No, your people have refused our help until now, but we have been preparing for this day. We knew that eventually someone would need our assistance. Taiho looked suspicious. How did you prepare? What do you know about our biology? We have studied your medical texts that were shared during the early diplomatic meetings. We have analyzed tissue samples that your scientists provided for research. We have run hundreds of computer simulations. But you have never actually treated a living Valkyrie? Dr. Kim met Taiho's eyes. No, this will be the first time. But we have prepared as much as possible. We want to help your people. Why? Hannah asked. What do you gain from helping us? The human doctors looked at each other. Dr. Park spoke first. We gained the knowledge that we did not stand by and watch children die when we had the power to help them. That is all? That is everything, Dr. Kim said simply. Alarms began to sound from Siak's bed. Dr. Kong rushed over to check the readings. His body temperature is dropping faster. We are losing him. Begin emergency warming procedures, Dr. Park ordered. All 3 children. The room suddenly filled with activity. Humans moved quickly around the beds, adjusting machines and checking. Monitors, warm air flowed from vents in the walls. Gentle heat lamps activated above each bed. Hannah watched in amazement as the humans worked. They moved like a team that had practiced together for years. Every action was smooth and purposeful. No one shouted or panicked, even though alarms were ringing. Wait, Dr. Kim said suddenly. The warming is not working fast enough. Their bodies are rejecting the external heat sources. Dr. Park checked her readings. You are right. Their metabolism is too slow to respond to standard warming techniques. What does that mean? Taiho demanded. Dr. Kim was quiet for a moment, studying the displays. When he looked up, his expression was troubled. It means we need to try something that has never been done before. Something that goes against all our normal medical procedures. What kind of something? Hannah asked, though she was not sure she wanted to know the answer. Dr. Kim looked at his colleagues, then back at the dying children. We need to share our own body heat with them directly, through biological connection. The medical room fell silent except for the steady beeping of machines. Hannah stared at Dr. Kim, trying to understand what he had just said. Biological connection, share body heat directly. The words sounded impossible. What do you mean by biological connection? Taiho asked slowly. Dr. Kim walked to a computer terminal and brought up a complex diagram on the screen. It showed human and Valkyrie body systems connected by thin lines. We would create temporary neural and circulatory links between our bodies and your children's bodies. Our blood would flow through their systems, warming them from the inside. Our nervous systems would help jumpstart their brain activity. Hannah felt sick. You want to put human blood inside my children? Not permanently, just long enough to bring them out of stasis. Once their own systems are working again, we would disconnect safely. Dr. Park stepped forward. I know it sounds frightening, but their bodies are shutting down too fast for any other treatment. External warming is not enough. We need to restart their systems from within. This is madness, Taiho said. You're talking about mixing human and Valkyrie biology. That could kill them instantly. They are already dying, Dr. Kim said gently. In perhaps 6 hours, they will be beyond any help. This procedure might save them. Might? Hannah's voice cracked. You are not certain it will work? Dr. Kim shook his head. We have never attempted anything like this before, but our computer models suggest it could be successful. Human and Valkyrie biology are more compatible than most people realize. What are the risks? Taiho demanded. Dr. Park consulted her computer. For the children, there is a chance their bodies might reject the foreign biological material. This could cause organ failure or brain damage. And for the humans, the risks are significant. Sharing our life systems with alien biology could cause severe illness or death. Our bodies are not designed to support non-human life. Hannah looked at her 3 children lying motionless on the beds. Siak's breathing was so shallow now that she could barely see his chest move. Nari's skin had turned gray-white, the color of death. Minho made no sound at all. You would risk your own lives for children who are not your own? She asked. Yes, Dr. Kim said without hesitation. Why would you do such a thing? Dr. Park moved closer to Nari's bed. She gently touched the child's cold hand. Because they are children. Because they deserve a chance to live. Because we have the power to help them, and that makes it our responsibility to try. Even if it kills you? Even then. Taiho pulled Hannah aside. They spoke quietly in their own language, though Hannah suspected the humans could understand them. This is insane, Taiho whispered. We cannot let them experiment on our children with untested procedures. What choice do we have? Hannah whispered back. Look at them. Really look, they are dying while we talk. But mixing human and Valkyrie biology, what if it changes them? What if they survive but are no longer truly Valkyrie? What if they die and are no longer anything at all? Taiho was quiet for a moment. The elders will never forgive us. They will say we have contaminated our bloodline. Our children will be outcasts forever. Our children will be alive, will they, or will they be something else entirely? Hannah looked at her mate. She understood his fears. Their people valued purity above all else. The idea of mixing their biology with another species was the ultimate taboo. But watching her children slip away minute by minute was breaking her heart. I would rather have strange children than dead children, she said finally. Dr. Kim approached them. I understand this is a difficult decision. Perhaps it would help if I explained exactly how the procedure would work. They returned to the computer terminal. Dr. Kim brought up more detailed diagrams. We would place bio-neural interfaces at key points on each child's body. These devices would connect them to one of us through temporary surgical links. I would connect to Minho, Dr. Park would connect to Nari, Dr. Kong would connect to Seok. Surgery? Taiho looked alarmed. Minor surgery. Small incisions to place. The interface devices. Nothing that would not heal completely once the procedure is finished. How long would this connection last? Hannah asked. Probably 3 to 5 days. Long enough for their bodies to warm up and their systems to restart. Once they are stable, we would disconnect safely. Dr. Park pulled up another screen showing biological readings. During the connection, we would share more than just body heat. Our immune systems would help fight any infections they might have. Our neural activity would help stimulate their brain function. And what happens to you? During this time, we would be weakened, tired. Our bodies would be working to support both ourselves and your children. But we would survive. You hope you would survive? Taiho corrected. Yes, we hope. Dr. Kang spoke up from beside Siak's bed. His temperature has dropped another degree. We are running out of time to make this decision. Hannah walked to each of her children's beds. She touched their cold faces and listened to their weak breathing. These were her babies. She had carried them, fed them, taught them to speak and walk and laugh. She could not let them die without trying everything possible. How soon could you begin the procedure? She asked. Within the hour, Dr. Kim replied. We have been preparing the equipment while we talked. You were so certain we would agree. We were hopeful. And we wanted to be ready if you said yes. Taiho joined Hannah beside the beds. What if something goes wrong? What if the procedure fails and we lose them anyway? Then at least we will know. We tried everything, Dr. Park said. Sometimes that is all we can do. An alarm sounded from Nari's bed. Dr. Kong rushed over to check the readings. Her brain activity is decreasing rapidly. We have maybe 2 hours before the stasis becomes permanent. Hannah felt tears freezing on her cheeks. 2 hours to decide the fate of her children. 2 hours to choose between certain death and unknown risk. If we agree to this, she said slowly, and if it works, what happens afterward? How will this change our children? Dr. Kim was honest. We do not know. This has never been done before. They might be exactly the same as before. They might be different in ways we cannot predict. The connection could leave lasting effects on both the children and ourselves. What kind of effects? Enhanced abilities, shared memories. Permanent biological changes. We simply do not know. Hannah looked at Taiho. Her mate's face showed all the fear and uncertainty she felt in her own heart. But beneath that she saw something else, love for their children. Desperate hope for any chance to save them. The elders will cast us out, he said quietly. Then we will build a new life somewhere else. Our children may never be accepted by our people. Our children will be alive to make that choice for themselves. Taiho nodded slowly. Then we agree to the procedure. Dr. Kim stepped forward. Are you certain? Once we begin, there will be no turning back. Hannah took one last look at her dying children. Begin immediately. Very well, Dr. Park, Dr. Kong, prepare for bioneural integration. This is going to be the most dangerous medical procedure any of us have ever attempted. As the humans began to prepare their equipment, Hannah wondered if she had just saved her children or doomed them all. The surgical room was filled with soft light and the steady hum of machines. Hannah watched as the human doctors prepared for the most dangerous procedure they had ever attempted. Dr. Kim lay on a bed next to Minho, while Dr. Park positioned herself. Beside Nari, Dr. Kong was already connected to monitoring equipment near Little Seok. The bioneural interfaces are ready, announced Dr. Lee, another human who had joined the medical team. All systems are showing green status. Hannah saw the small devices that would connect the humans to her children. They looked like silver patches connected to thin cables. Each patch would be placed on the skin and create a link between the two nervous systems. Are you ready? Dr. Kim asked his colleagues. As ready as anyone can be for something impossible, Dr. Park replied with a weak smile. Dr. Kong nodded toward Seok. This little one needs help the most. His readings are very weak. Hannah moved closer to watch. Will they feel pain during the connection? We do not think so, Dr. Kim explained. The interfaces should create a smooth link, but we are entering unknown territory. The first interface was placed on Minho's forehead. Immediately, lights began to flash on the monitoring screens. Dr. Kim winced as a matching interface was attached to his own head. Connection establishing, Dr. Lee reported. Neural pathways are linking successfully. Suddenly, Dr. Kim's body went rigid, his eyes rolled back, and he made a strange sound. The machines around both beds began beeping rapidly. What is happening? Taiho demanded. The initial connection shock, Dr. Lee said, adjusting controls quickly. Dr. Kim's nervous system is adapting to alien neural patterns. This is normal. Dr. Park was connected to Nari next. She gripped the sides of her bed as the interface activated. I can feel her, she whispered. I can feel her thoughts. She is so cold and scared. Her brain activity is increasing, Dr. Lee observed. The connection is working. The final connection was made between Dr. Kong and Seok, the older human doctors. Face turned pale as the link established. This child has been fighting so hard to stay alive, he said softly. I can feel his determination. Over the next few hours, amazing changes began to occur. The Valkyrie children's body temperatures started to rise slowly. Their breathing became deeper and more regular. Color returned to their gray scales, but the humans were paying a heavy price. Dr. Kim's skin became cold and clammy. Dr. Park shivered constantly despite the warm room. Dr. Kong's heartbeat slowed to match. Seok's weakened rhythm. We are sharing more than just body heat, Dr. Park observed. I can understand some of their language now. Not the words, but the meaning behind them. I am seeing memories, Dr. Kim added. Minho's memories of playing in the snow before the world became cold. He misses the warmth of normal days. Hannah was amazed. You can see his memories? Not clearly, but yes. The neural connection allows some information to pass between us. It is like dreaming someone else's dreams. By the second day, the effects became more dramatic. Nari's eyes opened for the first time in days. She looked around the room with confusion, but without fear. Her scales had returned to their normal green color. Mama? She whispered in a voice that sounded different somehow. I am here, baby, Hannah said, tears of joy flowing down her face, but something was strange about Nari's voice. She spoke with perfect pronunciation, better than before her illness. And when Dr. Park spoke to her in human language, Nari seemed to understand completely. The connection is changing them, Dr. Lee noted, studying the brain scans. Both species are adapting to each other's neural patterns. Minho woke up next. His first words were in human language, though he had never learned it before. Dr. Kim, he said clearly. Thank you for sharing your warmth with me. Dr. Kim smiled weakly. You are welcome, young one. How do you feel? Strange, different. I can understand things I never understood before. Seok took longer to recover. His small body had been closest to death. But on the third day, his eyes opened and he spoke both Valkyrie and human words in the same sentence. I had dreams of flying among stars, he told Dr. Kong. Were those your dreams or mine? Perhaps they were ours, the human doctor replied. But as the children grew stronger, the humans grew weaker. Dr. Park collapsed on the fourth day and had to be given emergency fluids. Dr. Kim developed a fever that would not break. Dr. Kang's blood pressure dropped dangerously low. We need to begin disconnection procedures, Dr. Lee warned. The humans cannot sustain this much longer. No, Nari said suddenly. Do not disconnect us yet. Everyone in the room turned to look at the 7-year-old Valkyrie child. She sat up, in her bed with an alertness that seemed beyond her years. What do you mean? Hannah asked. We are learning so much from each other. The humans are teaching us about their strength and determination. We are teaching them about our connection to the natural world. This sharing could help both our peoples. Dr. Park looked at Nari with wonder. You understand what is happening to us? I understand that you are giving us your life force to save ours, but I also understand that we can give something back to you. What do you mean? Minho spoke up from his bed. We can share our healing abilities. Valkyrie bodies are very good at repairing damage and fighting illness. Through the connection, we can help heal your weakness. Dr. Kim raised his head with effort. That is impossible. The energy flow only goes one way. No, Seok said in his small voice. It goes both ways. We were too weak before to send energy back to you, but now we are strong enough to help. Suddenly, the monitoring machines showed a remarkable change. The energy readings that had been flowing from the humans to the children began to balance out. Then they reversed direction. Dr. Park gasped as strength flowed back into her body. I can feel it. They are healing me. Dr. Kim's fever broke instantly. Color returned to his pale face. This is incredible. They are not just taking our life force anymore. They are giving us theirs. Dr. Kong sat up in his bed for the first time in days. My blood pressure is returning to normal. How is this possible? Nari smiled with wisdom that seemed far beyond her years. Because you did not just save our bodies, you saved our spirits. You showed us that different species can trust each other completely. Now we want to share that trust with you. The neural connections have stabilized, Dr. Lee reported with amazement. Both species are now supporting each other equally. This is unlike anything in medical science. Hannah watched her transformed children with mixed feelings. They were alive and healthy, which filled her with joy. But they were different now in ways she could not fully understand. They spoke languages they had never learned. They understood concepts beyond their age. They seemed to carry part of human consciousness within them. What happens now? She asked. Dr. Kim, now fully recovered, looked at the connected children and humans. Now we learn what it means to be truly connected across species. This is just the beginning. Outside the medical center, news of the successful procedure was spreading rapidly through both communities. 1 week after the bioneural connection began, the research station had become the center of attention for both human and Valkyrie communities. Representatives from both species arrived daily to observe the unprecedented medical procedure that was changing everything they thought they knew about biology. Hannah watched her children from the observation window. Nari, Minho, and Seok were no longer lying in medical beds. They moved freely around the room, still connected to their human partners by flexible bioneural cables. But now the connection seemed natural, like they had been born linked together. They are remarkable, said Elder Jiwan, who had arrived from the main Valkyrie settlement that morning. The elderly female's scales showed the dark blue patterns of high rank, but her voice carried uncertainty. I have never seen children recover so completely from deep cold stasis. They have not just recovered, observed Dr. Sunho Lee, the human researcher who had been monitoring the procedure. They have evolved. Both species have. Taiho stood beside Hana, watching their son Minho solve complex mathematical problems with Dr. Kim. The problems were far beyond what any 5-year-old Valkyrie child should understand. Yet Minho worked through them easily. Is he still our son? Taiho asked quietly. Or has he become something else entirely? Before Hannah could answer, little Seok approached the window. The 3-year-old child moved with perfect balance, despite the cables connecting him to Dr. Kang, his eyes held an awareness that seemed far beyond his years. Papa, Mama, Seok said, his voice carrying through the communication system. Doctor? Kang wants to show you something amazing. They entered the medical room where Dr. Kang was sitting with Seok. The human doctor looked healthier than he had in months. His gray hair seemed to have regained some of its original color, and his movements were those of a much younger man. Watch this, Dr. Kang said. He held up his hand, which had been injured in an accident years ago. 3 fingers had been badly scarred and barely functional. But as Hannah watched, the scars began to fade and the damaged fingers moved with perfect flexibility. How is this possible? Elder Jiwon demanded. Through the bio-neural connection, Seok is sharing Valkyrie healing abilities with me, Dr. Kang explained. Our species has always been good at repairing tissue damage, but Valkyrie biology is far superior in this area. Dr. Park approached with Nari. The human doctor now had scales growing along her arms in beautiful patterns that matched Nari's own markings. But the scales were not Valkyrie scales. They were something new entirely, combining the strength of human skin with the temperature. Adaptation of Valkyrie scales? We are becoming something new, Dr. Park said. Neither fully human nor fully Valkyrie, but a combination of both. This is an abomination, Elder Jiwon declared. You are destroying the purity of both species. No, Nari said firmly. We are creating something better than either species alone. The 7-year-old child approached Elder Jiwon without fear. I can feel the cold that is killing our people. Through Dr. Park, I understand how human technology works. Together we can build machines that will save everyone. To demonstrate, Nari walked to a complex computer terminal. Without any training, she began to modify the programming. Her small fingers moved across the controls with expert skill, combining Valkyrie understanding of biological systems with human knowledge of technology. She is designing a new type of heating system, Dr. Lee observed, studying the screen. 1. That works with Valkyrie biology instead of against it. This is genius-level engineering. Minho joined his sister at the computer. Together, the 2 children worked on designs that neither species had imagined before. They created plans for buildings that could adapt to temperature changes automatically. They designed medical equipment that could treat both human and Valkyrie patients equally well. They are not just combining our knowledge, Dr. Kim realized. They are creating entirely new concepts that neither of our species thought of separately. Elder Jiwon watched the children work with growing amazement. This level of innovation. It would take our best scientists years to develop these ideas. Working separately, yes, Hannah said, but working together they can do it in days. Communication alert sounded throughout the station. Dr. Lee answered the call and his face grew serious as he listened. What is the news? Dr. Park asked. The Valkyrie main settlement is in crisis, Dr. Lee reported. Their primary power generator has failed completely. Without heat, the entire population will enter cold stasis within hours. Elder Jiwon's scales turned pale with fear. Thousands of our people will die. The evacuation ships cannot carry everyone. We can help, Seok said simply. How can 3 children help thousands of people? Nari looked up from the computer. Because we are not just 3 children anymore. We are 3 children connected to 3 humans who understand technology. And through us, you can connect more of your people to more humans. You mean expand? The bio-neural connection program? Dr. Kim asked. Exactly. But not just for medical emergencies. We can create permanent partnerships between humans and Valkyrie. Humans can provide technology and energy. Valkyrie can provide healing abilities and environmental knowledge. Elder Jiwon shook her head. The Council will never approve such a thing. The idea of permanent biological mixing is too radical. The council will approve it when they see the alternative is extinction, Taiho said firmly. Minho had finished his work at the computer. I have designed a portable bio-neural connection system. Simple devices that can link any human with any Valkyrie safely. No surgery required. How long would it take to build these devices? Dr. Lee asked. With human manufacturing capabilities and Valkyrie biological knowledge working together, we could have the first units ready in 6 hours, Nari replied. Dr. Park looked at her scales thoughtfully. The physical changes are becoming permanent. If we do this, there will be no going back for any of us. There's already no going back, Dr. Kong pointed out. We have crossed a line that cannot be uncrossed. The question is whether we move forward together or let fear stop us from saving lives. Elder Jiwon was quiet for a long moment. Finally, she spoke. I will contact the council and explain the situation, but I make no promises about their response. Contact them quickly, Hannah urged. Every minute we delay, more of your people slip into cold stasis. As Elder Jiwon made her communication, the children continued working on their designs. They moved with perfect coordination, as if they shared a single mind spread across multiple bodies. Their human partners contributed knowledge and technical skills, while the children provided intuitive understanding and creative solutions. We are witnessing the birth of a new form of intelligent life, Dr. Lee observed quietly. Not human. Not Valkyrie, but something that combines the best of both. And possibly the future of both species. Dr. Kim added. Hannah watched her transformed children and wondered what kind of world they would create together. It would certainly be different from anything either species had imagined. But as she saw the joy and determination in their enhanced abilities, she began to believe it might be something wonderful. The communication from Elder Jiwon crackled to life. Her voice was tense with urgency. The council has agreed to an emergency trial of the bio-neural connection program, but we have only hours before the settlement loses all power. Can your devices really be ready in time? Nari looked up from her. Work with confidence beyond her years. They will be ready. And they will save everyone. 5 years had passed since the first bio-neural connections saved Hannah's children. The frozen world of Caloris was now home to the most remarkable civilization in the galaxy, where once there had been dying settlements struggling against the cold. Now there were thriving communities that combined the best of human and Valkyrie knowledge. Hannah stood on the observation deck of the New Harmony Research Center, watching her children work in the gardens below. Nari, now 12, was tending to plants that should not have been able to grow in the cold climate. But these were not ordinary plants. They had been modified using bio-neural techniques to adapt to the changing environment. Minho, now 10, was working with a group of human and Valkyrie engineers to build a new type of heating system. The device would use biological processes instead of traditional fuel, making it both efficient and environmentally friendly. Little Seok, now 8, was teaching a class of mixed-species children how to communicate through the enhanced telepathic abilities that had developed from the bio-neural connections. The children laughed and played together as if the differences between human and Valkyrie biology meant nothing. They are beautiful, said Dr. Minji Park, joining Hana at the window. The human doctor now bore permanent Valkyrie-style scales along her arms and face, but they only enhanced her appearance. I hardly remember what it was like before the connections. Hannah nodded. Dr. Park had become like a second mother to Nari. The bio-neural bond had created family relationships that transcended species boundaries. Do you ever regret what we did? Hannah asked. Never. Look what we have built together. Through the window, they could see the entire New Harmony settlement. Human-designed buildings used Valkyrie biotechnology to regulate temperature automatically. Valkyrie gardens employed human irrigation systems to grow food that both species could eat. Children of both races played together, many of them bearing the mixed characteristics that showed successful bio-neural bonding. The council meeting starts in an hour, Dr. Park reminded her. Are you ready to present the expansion proposal? Hannah took a deep breath. As ready as I can be. The council chamber was unlike anything that had existed before the connections began. Human and Valkyrie representatives sat together at a circular table designed to accommodate both species' physical needs. Elder Jiwon, now bearing human style. Hair growth alongside her traditional scales, called the meeting to order. We are here to discuss the proposal for galaxy-wide expansion of the Bio-Neural Connection Program, she announced. Representatives from 12-star systems have requested access to our technology. Dr. Jun-Ho Kim, whose appearance now showed the deep green skin tone of advanced human-Valkyrie bonding, stood to present the technical details. Our success here on Caloris has proven that bio-neural connections can solve problems that neither species could handle alone. The Arcany system is facing a plague that human medicine cannot cure, but Valkyrie healing abilities might help. The Terran colonies need Valkyrie environmental knowledge to restore damaged ecosystems. And what do we ask in return? Asked Elder Dongmin, a conservative Valkyrie leader who had initially opposed the connection program. Nari rose from her seat. Though only 12 years old, her enhanced abilities had earned her a place on the council. We ask for nothing except the chance to share what we have learned. The bio-neural connections work best when they are freely given, not forced or traded. Some species might not be compatible with our biology, pointed out Dr. Gayoung Smith, a human ambassador who bore beautiful Valkyrie scale patterns on her neck and shoulders. Then we will learn from trying, Minho said, standing beside his sister. Every species we connect with teaches us something new. The Regelians might share their mathematical abilities. The Centauri could offer their artistic vision. Each connection makes all of us stronger. Elder Dongmin looked troubled. But at what cost? We are no longer purely Valkyrie. You are no longer purely human. Are we losing our identities in this mixing? Seok, the youngest member of the council, spoke up in his clear voice. We are not losing our identities. We are expanding them. I am still Valkyrie in all the ways that matter. But I am also human in ways that make me better than I was before. And, I am still human, Dr. Kong added. But the Valkyrie wisdom I carry makes me wiser and more complete. The debate continued for hours. Some representatives worried about the long-term effects of biological mixing. Others questioned whether they had the right to offer such dramatic changes to other species. A few wondered if they were playing with forces beyond their understanding. Finally, Hannah stood to address the council. 5 years ago, I was a desperate mother watching her children die. I made a choice that went against everything my people believed because the alternative was losing everything I loved. She gestured toward her 3 children, who sat confidently among the mixed council members. Today, my children are not just alive, they are thriving in ways I never imagined possible. They speak languages that did not exist before they learned them. They solve problems that would have stumped the greatest minds of either species. They love and are loved by humans and Valkyrie equally. The choice we face today is the same choice I faced then. We can hold on to old ways of thinking and let other species struggle with problems we could help solve. Or we can offer them the same gift that saved my children's lives. Elder Jiwon called for a vote. One by one, each council member stated their position. The conservatives worried about moving too fast. The progressives argued for immediate expansion. The moderates suggested careful, limited trials. When the final votes were counted, the result was close but clear. The Bio-Neural Connection Program would be offered to any species that requested it, with careful safeguards and voluntary participation only. The motion passes, Elder Jiwon announced. We will begin preparing diplomatic missions to the 12 requesting systems. After the meeting, Hana walked through the settlement with her family. Taiho had adapted well to the changes, though he remained more cautious than she was. His bio-neural connection with Dr. Lee had given him enhanced problem-solving abilities. That made him invaluable in the engineering department. Do you think we are doing the right thing? He asked as they watched the sunset paint the sky in colors that seemed more beautiful since the connections began. I think we are doing the human thing, Hannah replied, taking risks to help others even when we do not know how it will turn out. Neri ran up to them, her scales shimmering with excitement. Mama, Papa, we received a message from the Rigelian system. They want to send a delegation to learn about the connections. And the Centauri are interested too, Minho added, joining them with Dr. Kim close behind. Seok tugged on Hannah's arm. Dr. Kang says that if all 12 species join the program, we will have the largest cooperative civilization in galactic history. Hannah looked at her transformed children and their human partners. They had become something unprecedented in the galaxy. Not human, not Valkyrie, but something new that combined the courage of humanity with the wisdom of her own people. The unthinkable, she murmured. What, Mama? Seok asked. When I brought you to the human station, I thought the unthinkable thing would be trusting aliens with your lives. But the truly unthinkable thing was what came after. The connections, the sharing, the new civilization we built together. Dr. Park smiled, her scales catching the last rays of sunlight. And we are just getting started. In the distance, the lights of New Harmony glowed warm and bright against the cold sky. Ships from a dozen worlds were scheduled to arrive over the coming months, bringing species eager to learn about bioneural connections. Each one would add something new to the growing tapestry of shared knowledge and abilities. The dying world of Calaris had become the birthplace of something that would spread across the galaxy. Not conquest or conversion, but voluntary cooperation between species willing to share their most essential selves with others. It was, Hannah reflected, the most human thing imaginable and the most Valkyrie. And soon it would be something even greater as other species added their own gifts to the growing symphony of connected minds. The unthinkable had become inevitable. And it was beautiful.